Hey, my name is Gracie, and today we're going to be talking about my opinion on why I believe that zoos and aquariums should be closed. Zoos and aquariums have been known to have animal cruelty, not animal cruelty per se, but in a way, like they're not harming them, but they are mentally, I get, if that's the best way to put it. They are in these confined, they take them and they put them in these spaces and they're confined. And they're basically in cages, and people will pay to watch them for their own amusement. And it's gotten to a point where PETA's gotten involved and people are kind of outraged in a way because they don't believe that animals should be trapped in these zoos and no one should be sitting there just watching them. They're just living life going by. And but zoos do have beneficial factors. They help endangered species. They help them to be able to repopulate the endangered species list, and they have been successful in this area. They've been able to make them, and then sometimes when they're ready to be away from their parents, they take them back into the wild and help them be able to in the repopulation, and that has helped. They also, when you get there, you see the signs, and they explain to you what the animals, who they are and what they live in. It's very educational for some people, especially on school field trips, and they can, understand how they act and behave and what kind of habitat they live in. But back to, more of the cons on this situation. They are in confined spaces. They don't have a lot of places to roam. They eventually stop. There's a gate, so they can't go anywhere. They're constantly being watched by, the zookeepers or the public. They're never by themselves. They have a schedule. They eat and sleep at a certain time. They can't do anything on their own free will. They just can't. And a lot of people have gotten involved with, getting riots, not riots per se, but like they've signed petitions for circuses to stop using real animals because, no one, because they believe that animals should be performing and being taught all these tricks. They should be out in the wild and not basically kept, away from who they really are, which are animals. And PETA has gotten involved with this. It's an animal society that helps animals and gives them the rights and helps be able to get them back into the wild and where they are. And SeaWorld is a perfect example, actually, about how they should stop this because there have been whales, like killer whales, that have harmed or even killed some of the trainers due because they've become so aggressive, and they've become more. They've said, and study shows that they have become more aggressive the longer they are in captivity, because they are just taught these tricks. They're fed. That's it. Like no, they're not actual. They're just trained. They're just trained. That's it. And while they're not performing, they're actually in these bins until these bins, like these pens. And they're not as big, and they're kept there. They're not as big as the ocean, and they're kept there until time to perform, and it's become a real issue. And sometimes animals actually die in the zoo, which can be prevented. The zookeepers and like if an animal has seen an attempt to escape, they're going to escape, and sometimes the zookeepers or the police will stop them and kill them to prevent them from hurting themselves or others, and that's one way. Another way is they become obese for not having enough exercise because they're limited on how much they can walk around and interact and stuff. And sometimes zookeepers feed them maybe too much. It just depends on what's going on with that certain animal and what their diet is. And animals can also become depressed, and that can deteriorate on their health as well. If they're depressed, they can't see, the outside world. They can't do what they want to do. But zoos can be beneficial, as I've said before. They can help animals be repopulated, help the endangered species, and help to be able to regain more population. They don't become extinct. They help kids be more educated on the animals and how they act. They've actually had these signs written up about what the animals are and who they are. They are very beneficial. And another way they can also help, another con, this is more on a cons thing, but they they make the animals not have health problems, because if you take a polar bear and you can only make the habitat so much like their actual habitat, but you can only go so far. Like if a polar bear, is from Antarctica and it's cold, but you take him to this other habitat in the zoo away from his environment, it could deteriorate his health because he's not used to the cold. It's hot, and you just never know what's going on. And in conclusion, zoos have a lot of cons, but there are beneficial factors. But there's more cons that outweigh the pros. They are not susceptible to animal rights. They're more focused on the money and the entertainment of it all. But they do help educate people and the businesses to teach these children how these animals are. And that was my speech on why I believe zoos and aquariums should be closed. Thank you.